Hello my dears, thank you and welcome to blog number 59. Can't believe that it is that many blogs. I want to thank everyone who's been a part of this story and shared this journey with me. I love you all, and thank you to everyone who shares and comments on these videos. Please keep them coming because it's kind of what motivates me to share more of my story with you. So where do I start? Well, today is my first fanniversary. Sorry for the pun, and that's a terrible one, but I quite like it. I'm a fan of puns anyway. But yeah, this time a year ago I was actually in surgery. I can't believe how much time has passed since then, and also how far I've come. I want to share a bit of an update with regards to my physical development and how things have been since we last spoke. You'll recall when I last spoke to you, I was dilating 4 times a day. I'm now down to once a week, and I'm still very comfortable with that. I don't really want to go less frequently than that because I think psychologically I just would be scared to wait for you know, 7, 8, 9, 10 days and then having to dilate. I just would be afraid that things would close up. So once a week. When I was doing it 4 times a day, I just didn't even contemplate that I could get down to once a week. So that's really wonderful. The sex life is incredible, and please, if you don't want to hear me talk about sex, then go forward a minute or so. But in the last week, I've actually discovered that I can still ejaculate, which is incredible. Don't ask me how, because I don't really understand the mechanics of it, but essentially I was having a bit of a fun time with myself, using a vibrator, and then all of a sudden it was just like a bulldozer. I was like, the most incredible orgasm. Not grossing anyone out, I'm just sharing this so, you know, in case people are worrying that their bodies aren't going to work after surgery, then kind of one of the main concerns, the kind of regrets I had, if I'm going to be honest with you and talk about this, is the fact that I never thought I would be able to climax in the way that I used to pre-surgery, and I did it for the first time in the most incredibly beautiful, astounding, mind-blowing way. And yeah, my clitoris went really, really big, and it was so fucking intense. My whole body was juddering, and I had this kind of like sticky substance that it could only be an ejaculation. I don't know what else it could be. But my God, that was incredible. I'll stop talking about it now because I don't want to embarrass anyone else any further. But yeah, it was amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I honestly didn't... It was like a dream come true because I didn't actually think that I would ever be able to have a feeling like that again. So yeah, I wanted to share that with you. But also, the issues that I was having with my bladder, they've kind of died down a bit, if I'm honest with you. When I sneeze, sometimes some wee comes out. I have been working on my pelvic floors a lot, and you know, I can sit here now and say honestly that I am doing it now. But yeah, I think the strength has come with time. On it's like everything in transition or any transitionary period in your life, whether you're transgender or whatever, you have to be patient and just give yourself time to adjust to the kind of new conditions and new ways of being. Certainly I found that in the last kind of between months 9 and 12 post-op, I've saw a lot of kind of strength that I used to have has returned down there in my bladder. I did have a urodynamics test where they inserted the kind of pressure wires into my bladder, and not grossing anyone out, but into my anus as well, because they wanted to see what the pressures were in both passages when I passed water and then when they forced it in. And she was really happy. She said it was perfectly normal range. I am due to see the consultant in a few weeks, and I think honestly they're going to sign me off from their books, hopefully, because things are pretty settled. I mean, don't get me wrong, sometimes when I'm really bursting for a wee, a little bit will come out, but you know, having talked to most of my women friends, when they laugh, when they cry, when they sneeze, you know, they get a little bit of it as well. So I think it's relatively normal to have that. So for any post-op women out there who are having the same issues, you know, keep the faith, keep going, because it will settle over time and it will kind of return to what should be a normal level. So physically, the sex and the uro dynamic issues that I was having have kind of really settled, and that's actually really wonderfully pleasing. For those sharp-eyed people of you who might have noticed, I have got a picture of Michael Scott from the American Office series. He's kind of one of my heroes, Steve Carell, anyway, but certainly this series is like, it kind of got me through my surgical transition, the aftermath of it, because I was down in the dumps, and I just watched them all, and I think The Office is one of the most wonderful series to ever come out of America. Certainly if you haven't watched it, do yourself a favour and do so. I'd recommend you start season 2 and then watch it right through to season 9 in the end, and then go back and watch season 1. I think season 1 they just tried to be like the British Office a bit too much, and then season 2 they kind of started to develop their own characters in their own way, and I thought it was far better from then on. But yeah, the kind of stories of Jim and Pam and how they fall in love and how they are with each other, I feel totally blessed to be able to say this, but that's how me and my other half are. It's an incredibly supportive relationship, and no matter what each other is going through, we seem to support each other in those struggles and kind of be there for each other as a team. And yeah, I adore that woman, so I feel truly blessed to be able to have a relationship like that. So my love life is going amazingly well. Professionally, I'm still doing the same work that I was doing, but I'm kind of doing more and more outside of my ordinary role as well. So much so, I've done 2 speaking events this year already. I did one for LGBT History Month and one for International Women's Day. Now, if you'd have told me 5 years before my surgery, if you told me 5 years ago, when I was coming up to the period when I was going to be living full-time, that I would be speaking at an International Women's Day event 5 years later and have an audience of over 150 people in an auditorium where there was just me speaking and that was it, I'd have thought you were nuts. But I love sharing my story. I love inspiring other women to kind of live authentically and be themselves. If there's one thing I've learned in this journey, that each person's struggles kind of are worth sharing. One of the main kind of support mechanisms I found is in sharing my story, because often in sharing your story you're going to get people who've gone through the similar thing and they can share their coping strategies with you. So that's, you know, it's one of the reasons I love going and sharing these stories as well, is people will come up to me afterwards and it moves them in such a way that it's changed their opinion of transgender people, or they've kind of taken an element from my story and they're going to use that in their own lives. When I spoke at LGBT History Month, I had this young Muslim trans child come up to me. He was 12 and he was there with his boyfriend who was cis, but he was trans male. And he'd come up to me and he said, you know, thank you so much for sharing your story with me, because while I know that I'm struggling at the moment, I can see that, you know, things do improve for you and it gets better. I mean, to me, that was worth, you know, travelling to London from Bournemouth and back again just for that, for his one piece of feedback, and the fact that I touched him in such a way that I actually inspired him to kind of keep going. You can't put a price on something like that. So yeah, I'm really enjoying doing those kind of things. If I could be honest, I would rather do that full time than my job. I love my job, don't get me wrong, but the ability to be able to inspire others and sharing my journey is the main reason why I keep doing this. Because I'm a year post-op now, I know a lot of transgender people don't actually keep sharing their transition after surgery, and I can totally understand the reason for that. A lot of people just want to kind of remove the kind of periscope that they're under in life once they've had their transition, and they just want to kind of blend into normal life. I'm going to keep sharing my story until I'm no longer here and pushing up daisies, because ultimately people need to hear this. People need to hear that it is okay, that you can't keep coping. I still have dysphoric days, massively so. So much so, Friday night, I was with a group of friends and I had to leave early because I started having a panic attack. I recently had my fringe cut in. I don't know if you can see, but this bit's a bit shorter now, and you know, because I've receded a bit, I do have to like brush it forward and stuff, and then the bits around the side, when my hair's hanging down naturally, it just, to me, people were able to read me better than they were before I had my fringe cut, and it's been really freaking me out ever since. So now I'm just going to let it grow out again. But I'm glad I tried having a fringe, because I've always wanted one since I've transitioned, but I realised that it doesn't work for me and I don't feel really uncomfortable, and it's kind of, I really struggled with that, and was really upset on Friday night, and I had to leave a group of friends early, and it really, I'm glad I did it, because I could have just sat there and suffered, and like everyone said to me, "You okay? What's wrong? You're really quiet," and I just couldn't tell them. But I'm glad I did it, that I left early and kind of recharged my batteries and stuff and kind of reflected a lot, and yeah, I feel better for now knowing what the issue actually really was. But yeah, so a year after surgery I'm still having issues with them feeling gender dysphoric. I think it's never going to go away. As I said in my last video 5 months ago, there are still going to be periods when I feel dysphoric, and that's fine. It's just kind of having patience with yourself and kind of giving yourself time to get over it, and also recognising that, you know, you've come so far. A lot of people, when you have a goal, and I've said this in my last video and I'm going to keep saying it until I'm blue in the face, but essentially when you have a goal and you attain it, you need to take time to celebrate it and like respect the challenge, but also kind of celebrate the challenge that you've actually done it and you've come through it, and then you can like take heart. I think when you're just going through goals and you're like, did it, ultimately, if you get there at the end of like 5 years and you haven't actually celebrated any of the small successes along the way, it's going to mean less to you than it would if you actually take a step back every time you have a small achievement and just say, fuck yeah, I did that, and like give yourself a pat on the back and be proud of yourself. You know, with anyone who's in a transition, who is transgender, who's going through the surgical journey, it's fucking tough. You know, you wait sometimes. I mean, I was lucky because I transitioned 4 years ago. The gender clinics weren't as busy as they with my appointment gaps as they are now. I mean, some people are waiting 18 months to 2 years between appointments, which is crazy. I think the longest I waited was about 13, 14 months. So, you know, I've been relatively lucky to transition when I did, but, you know, to the trans brothers and sisters out there who are looking to surgically transition and they're just getting frustrated in the waiting times, please keep going. Don't give up. It's worth the wait, I promise you. And celebrate the successes of the progress that you've made so far. You know, even if you've kind of made the decision, but you're not able to live full-time yet, or you're only living part-time, or you've changed your name but you haven't been able to tell some family members, the fact that you've made a decision and you started your journey, take pride in that. Have pride in that and kind of own the fact that, you know, it's not it's called transition for a reason. It's not called switch. You don't just make the decision, boom, and then one day, the next day, you're kind of how you are, want to be, you know, aligned with. Certainly, I think it's a blessing to have such an extended period in between the kind of appointments and everything else, because once you've transitioned, and this is one of the things that I've struggled with, and it's kind of one of the reasons why I haven't shared so much of my story with you as I did before surgery, as well as being in a relationship. And you know, when you're in a relationship, your time gets taken up with work in a relationship. I feel like I haven't made that much progress, so you know, you can't just focus on your transition and that's it. You have to have things outside of your transition. So once you've kind of reached your goal, whatever level of goal that is, that you kind of have a life afterwards. One of the things I have started doing to kind of build my own identity and to kind of feel like I'm making progress beyond my transition is I've started running again. I used to do a lot of half marathons before I transitioned, and then up to about 9 years ago I was doing the Great North Run every year. And I started running again this year, and the difference in running between having a female body for me and having a male body is quite significant, certainly with the boobs. I tried running once without a sports bra, never again, because it's a bloody nightmare. But the little things like that, and certainly as I was 9 years older, I did find it a bit of a challenge. I'm heavier than I ever have been, but in different areas, kind of around the thighs and the bum and the hips. It's like all the fat distribution in my body has obviously gone there since I've transitioned and started hormone therapy. Yeah, so that's been a kind of interesting journey and a challenge, but also one that I actually relish. My times have been improving week on week. I've started doing park run. I'm sure there are many people who are watching this who are aware or have taken part in park run. I find it wonderful, and the thing I want to touch on with parkrun is like running as a community. It's all inclusive. It doesn't matter how old you are, what gender you are, what size you are, what fitness you are. People are always encouraging you and supporting you, and it's good to take a step back from my transition and actually people just see me as Debbie rather than, oh, there's that trans woman. My trans identity will always be an important part of my identity, but also it's not the only thing that defines me. I'm transgender the same as I'm right-handed, or that I'm an Aquarius, or that I love Newcastle United football team. You know, it's just one of the things that is a part of me, but it's not what just defines me. I think the fact that I'm a woman is something that I kind of identify with more than the fact that I'm a trans person. I'll always be open about my transgender and be proud of it, but you know, it's not the only thing that defines me. And I think that having transitioned surgically and kind of lived a year without having had any more kind of progression in a physical sense other than kind of things settling down, I think it's kind of been a big time of reflection. So kind of, if you can take one thing about my journey from this video, please take the fact that, you know, you have to have a life that's outside of your journey, because if you don't, when your journey finishes in terms of the physical transition that you're pursuing, I think you'll struggle. So please, you know, do take that from this video. I don't know what else to share with you. I am going to finish writing my book at some point. I've kind of taken a backseat and haven't really done much for about 15 months now. I am going to get back on that in earnest. I think it's important to get my story out there. If it sells 10 copies or 10 million, you know, that's in the lap of the gods. But certainly I want to share my journey with you guys on a more personal level, and go into my past and stuff, without naming names, because it's not really fair on those people. But certainly I think it's important to get that version of a story out there, so I am going to be doing that. I've also been the co-founder of a trans support group in Bournemouth called Community. We have a website out there. Please go and like us on Twitter and Facebook, our pages, and also follow us and have a look at the website. I am responsible for the upkeep of that, as well as my own website, debbiecannon.co.uk. And yeah, kind of I used to support trans people in a therapy role for about 2 years after I started transitioning, and then I kind of had issues with empathy, and I thought, I can't be in a support role if I'm having issues empathising with these people. I kind of step back from it and had to deal with my own issues. And then actually having surgically transitioned and then settling and then going back into a support role with a lot of people. We have about 40 people in our group now, and it's incredible to kind of to be helping people through their transitions and supporting them. One of the things I would definitely recommend as well, if you can have another takeaway from this watching this video, is seek the support of your peers. If you're an LGBT person and you're struggling with your journey, whatever part of your journey that you're struggling with, seek out LGBT support groups, or you know, any person in any kind of struggle of a journey that you're going through. The support of your peers can be priceless, because you know, they're going to give you coping mechanisms and strategies that you perhaps haven't thought of. And even, you know, myself coming home on Friday night having had a panic attack and sharing that with my partner, she was able to give me coping strategies and make me realise that, you know, it's just a part of my journey. So please do seek out the support of your peers. What else to say? I've rabbled on for quite a bit now, so yeah, I'm going to sign off. I would please really appreciate it if you could share this video with anyone who's struggling with any part of their transition. They can be trans, they can be LGBT, or they can be just someone who's struggling, you know, with a new job or a career change, or they're at a crossroads in their life and not really sure what to do. You know, share this with them if you think it will inspire them. Then please do share. It's why I put these videos out there, to hope to inspire at least one person, like I did with my talk in February. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate all the views and the likes and the comments and the shares. So please subscribe to my channel, follow my Twitter feed. I have a page on Facebook as well if you want to go and have a look at that. And as I always say, be yourself, no one else, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Bye.